Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Closers Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Marco Alvarado. Unfortunately, not joining me this week is Quinn the Moondog Kalani. In this COVID era, we have to do everything online, and sometimes technology fails us. And that is one of the cases. Today is one of those cases, actually, unfortunately. Quinn's internet has been kind of messing up recently, and so he was not able to join the Zoom call. Therefore, I'm handling the duties solo today. But that's not bad. I'm used to it. I did all of season 1 solo, so it's no biggie. And actually, I'm kind of not really solo. I am solo as a host for this episode, but I'm not entirely alone. Not only do I have you listening to me, giving me your attention, which I thank you for, but I also have my best friend, Gavin G-Money G-Steez, on the show this week. We recorded a filler episode a couple months ago. Or actually about a month ago. We recorded a filler episode, just one that we could throw in there when times like this arise. So it's kind of perfect. In this conversation, Gavin and I each give 3 movies that we both have watched, that we have like stories behind watching those movies, how they have influenced our humor, our perceptions of life, and also our friendship. Just like we always do, we share some stories. We talk about some of our experiences as friends as well. We have a lot of experiences together, so it's always fun to chat with my boy. Before we jump into the interview, though, or the conversation, I must say, please follow us on Instagram at The Closers Podcast, on Facebook at Closers Podcast, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are The Closers Podcast. It helps us out a lot if you like the videos, share them as well, or just share this episode on your favorite podcast streaming service, Spotify, Apple Pods, Google Pods, or Stitcher, or any of the other tons and tons of podcast services that you take advantage of. Please share this episode with your friends, family, and significant others if you so feel inclined. And now with that out of the way, enjoy this conversation with my best friend Gavin G-Money G-Steezy about the movies that have shaped our friendship and our humor. Enjoy. All right, guys, so we are back with G-Steezy, G-Money, G-Boy, the governor. I don't know why I called you the governor. It starts with a G, but my best friend, who is currently residing in Southern California, unfortunately, Gavin. Hello.
Hello. Well, it's you called me the governor because my alter ego is.
Oh, it's true. Gavin Newsom.
I actually
forgot his name.
Much like Batman, in the shadow of the night, I'm down here, but during the day, I'm Gavin Newsom.
It's true.
Leading us through this crisis.
Yeah.
For
better or worse, right?
Yeah, I'm just doing what I can.
So what's your reaction when you meet another person named Gavin?
I've literally never met another person named Gavin.
That's a lie.
Okay. So I've met one or two, and there's like a reflexive, I don't like you, every single time. But then I'm like, okay, never mind. It's just rare enough of a name that it actually kind of throws me off for a minute.
I see.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember there was that one kid in high school who was really short. He looked like he was 10, but he was a freshman, and his name was Gavin.
Was it really?
Yeah, you remember him? He was the career center lady's son.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I've just blocked out all the other Gavins I've met.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I just remember at the time you didn't necessarily like him, but I mean, things change, people change. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm less angry in my older age.
Well, that's
You know,
great. I'm glad to hear that.
I've really, I used to operate at around a 9 or 10. I'm more like a 7 or 8 now. You know.
Ah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, I see. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of number 7 or 8, those could be easily like ages, right? So when we were like 7 or 8 or 9, we watched a lot of movies together.
Hmm.
And I know what the audience is thinking. No, not those kind of movies, you fucking perverts.
Sicko.
I'm talking about just comedies or movies we that are we're on the more adult side, but not just like nothing to the degree that you're thinking. Okay. It's like black comedies, dark comedies, um, or just conspiracy movies that like make no fucking sense that just like got us super anxious for no reason. Um, so I was thinking it'd be fun to, like how Gavin and I love to do, walk down memory lane, take a stroll, and talk about the top 3 movies that we each respectively were most like influenced by. If you would like to take that walk with me, Gavin.
I would love to, sir.
Perfect. Would you like to go first in disclosing your first movie?
I will give the floor to you.
Oh, really?
I'll
Okay.
let you kick it off. Yeah.
The first movie that is on my list, let's see, is Napoleon Dynamite. Easily, easily one of the most influential movies in my life. And I could easily say probably Gavin's too, just from just a comedy standpoint, like the type of awkward comedy that is in this movie is so iconic in my life just because not just because of like the funny little like inside jokes that sprouted from this movie, but really like the story in itself was just so simple, and I never had seen a movie quite like Napoleon Dynamite before, where it was super low budget. The humor was in the subtleties, and I had never seen anything like that before. I mean, we watched cartoons, Gavin, you can definitely attest to this, that were very much like a little not ham-fisted in their approach of comedy, but I mean it's a children's cartoon. I mean, what do you expect, you know?
Yeah, yeah. There was a ton of stuff like that, but Napoleon Dynamite was is the kind of like the first understated. I mean, in a lot of ways, it is kind of. I know that it wasn't this, but it's kind of like a breakthrough of like almost an indie movie scene
Yeah.
where again, I know that it was a production, major production company made the film, but it has that feeling of like it was just some people who had a funny idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the there's so many characters in that movie that just stick with you in a way that most, you know, I can only think of a couple similar movies that from that era, from like that 3 or 4 year
Yeah.
period that have characters like that, like Uncle Rico or Kip.
Oh my god. Or even like LaFonda,
LaFonda,
or even
yeah.
like characters that don't even have any lines, but like the llama, Tina,
Yep.
right? Is her name Tina?
Tina the llama, yeah. Or one thing that has always stood out to me, I don't know why, is Napoleon's aunt.
Oh yeah.
or grandma. I don't know
Yeah,
what she is.
I think she's grandma because Uncle Rico. Yeah,
She's like, it's been a long time since I've watched it. I haven't watched it at all recently, but isn't she like always out on dates with like, like she's at the sand dunes at one point
yeah. She went
on
to
like a
yeah,
quad?
yeah. In the beginning of the movie, she leaves because she's going like with her friends to the dunes. So like the dunes, they live in Idaho, and she goes to the dunes.
In like
What?
California or
Yeah,
something.
I'm like,
Like,
what the fuck? The dunes. They like looking back, like little things like that. Like,
I didn't even
oh,
think of
okay.
that.
Yeah, me either. I never thought of it until right now. It's like the dunes, but they're in Idaho. What? Like what where? Like does Salt Lake have dunes? Or like did she go to Utah? Like
Oh,
weird.
that maybe.
Maybe, but it's just funny. Like, what? The dunes. And then just like Uncle Rico goes and sells Tupperware. Like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah,
Is that and maybe part of it is just the comedy, like juxtaposing, like, or not juxt yeah, like the audience is taking things from like the 80s and the 70s, like things that were just staples of that time, like selling Tupperware maybe from door to door, and they put that up against, at the time, 2004, the culture in 2004. I don't think people were selling Tupperware door to door in 2004, but the idea of that is pretty funny, especially a guy
yeah.
like Uncle Rico, and that's what makes you laugh. It's just like thinking about a dude like that coming up to your door trying to hit on your mom and sell Tupperware. Like, what?
The moon boots too.
Yeah, the
The
moon boots. Yeah, and then the little pencil mustache by Kip, and the whole
oh
chat
god.
room thing, and like hilarious, and like the dial-up internet. It's so ambiguous too what era that movie even is in.
Yeah, it almost feels like a like alien entities are like like trying to make entertainment for humans.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're
Mm-hmm.
like they take a little bit from the 70s, a little from the 60s, oh early 2000s,
Yeah.
90s, and just kind of like made this hodgepodge of a movie.
Yeah.
And
But it all works.
it's so funny. It's like absurd,
Yeah. I
you
think
know.
what's so funny about it is that like it easily could take place in the like early to mid 90s, but they're using so many things from the 80s and the late 70s, or like different like uh homages to those time periods, because I think part of the joke and part of the genius of this movie is that the setting itself is so behind from the rest of American culture, because it's in the middle of nowhere in Idaho, some random little city, that like they haven't caught up to like the mainstream culture
Yeah.
of the time, but they have like small little parts of it, like with Kip's computer or the music, or like, the was it Britney Spears or In Sync or no, not Backstreet, yeah, maybe Backstreet Boys. I don't know which song that Summer dances to at the end of the movie, but
Oh yeah.
that's like a 90s song. So like it's just like nowadays, like the culture and society, like everybody, it's like to a degree a monolith, at least as long as like in terms of like, we all know who Drake is, we all know who Justin Bieber is, like we all know who pop stars are.
Mm.
But back then, like the internet was just coming out to the mainstream. Not everybody had it. So like some people might not know who the Backstreet Boys were, or like Britney Spears or people like that, especially if you live in like in the middle of Idaho, in
Yeah.
like this super small town. So I think that's part of the genius of that movie.
Yeah.
But do you remember the first time you saw that movie?
I I can't solidly remember. I think the first time that I fully watched the movie was actually at your house. I don't remember when or why.
Yeah.
But the first time that I was made aware of that movie's existence was my grandpa back in the days of Blockbuster found that movie and wanted to have the whole family over for a family movie night. It was my mom, my little brothers, me, my uncle, like literally the entire family packed into my grandparents' living room.
That's a pretty small. It's a pretty small living room too.
It's a tiny living room for that many people, and
Yeah.
whenever we did this, we've only done this like maybe 10 times in my entire life.
Wow.
And it was always a special thing. We used to
Yeah.
do it over like Nintendo 64, stuff like that. We'd play like Super Mario or something.
Right.
So this was the first time in a long time that we had done that. And all I remember is my family got about 10 minutes into the movie and they were like, this is the stupidest shit in the world. And they took it out and they stopped it. And it was up to me to I stole the VCR or whatever it was and
VC.
my room
Yeah.
and watched it. But yeah, my family hated that. And on both sides of my family, everyone hates that movie. I'm like the one person who loves it.
I don't understand why.
I don't know either.
It's just so it's funny too because it's one of those movies that like across our generation, most people have some sort of reverence for Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
Like one of our really good friends, Noah, that was like his favorite movie for the longest time. That movie and the next one on my list. But and I think you already know which one that is.
I say I almost named that when I was earlier.
but um but yeah, so great movie, Napoleon Dynamite. That's a super influential movie for me, and especially like our friendship and like
Mhm.
our humor. And I think
Yeah,
a lot of puns and a lot of like inside jokes came from that movie, so it's a great time.
tons and lots of like when you're going through a certain flavor of experience in life, you're like, I feel like Uncle Rico right now. like there's a lot of we use it to draw a lot of metaphorical comparisons in life. It's funny.
Yeah, it's all you, man. What's the first one on your list? I'm excited for this.
Oh man, okay. All right, I'm gonna switch it up a bit. Step Brothers.
Ooh, I knew that one was going to be on your list. I knew it.
That movie on any list of anything for influential movies in my life, top comedies, favorite movies in my life, anything, this movie's going to be on there. Step Brothers is one of my favorite movies of all time because it you know the where Napoleon Dynamite kind of got the ball rolling on my
Yeah,
sense of humor. This movie was the like the
like the
clay
the
which
epitome.
formed,
Yeah.
yes, it just it formed my entire sense of humor. um and the I love the constantly pissed off dad, you know, like that when the sleepwalking scene when they wander in and he's like, that's I'm waking him up, I'm waking fuck it, and they throw him down the stairs and he goes like it
Such
just
an iconic, so many iconic scenes in that movie.
yeah, or like the bunk bed scene where it falls on Will Ferrell.
I love
They
the
killed my brother.
I love I love the car ride, the freaking she's got eyes to be reminded. Dude, that's the first time I ever heard that song, Sweet Child of Mine.
Was it
Ever.
really?
That was the first time. I was like, what song is this? Yeah, dude, my parents weren't never played any Guns N' Roses when I was growing up, right? That's who
Oh,
sang it, right? Yeah.
yeah, that's who it is. And I see from the complete opposite end of the spectrum. My parents played it all the time,
Yeah.
all the time. That song, I've probably heard that song 500 times in my life.
Jesus
I've heard
Christ.
it so many times,
Yeah.
and it's not a bad song,
Yeah.
but I hate that song because of the number of times that I've had to hear it. So that scene to me was so funny because they made it like an acapella, like
Yeah.
and the just like the douchebag brother, you know, like
That
it,
guy who plays him is just plays him perfectly
he
so well.
does well.
Yeah.
That he ended up getting typecasted for that kind of character for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
That's the guy that he played in everything because he did it so well,
Yeah.
you know. And the I just the dynamic between John C. Riley and Will Ferrell, it's controversial nowadays after a few bad releases on their part, but
Yeah.
this movie is like the absolute, you know, it's the perfect encapsulation of what it is. It's the both of them at their best, you know,
Yeah.
arguably at the peak of Will Ferrell's career, not necessarily John C. Riley because he's gone on to do some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and I also love this movie because it's so kind of like Napoleon Dynamite. It's very divisive.
Yeah.
Like I know people who love it and I know people who hate it. I don't know many people that are just kind of like, yeah, it's okay. If it's on, I'll watch it.
Yeah,
You
no,
know.
it's one or the other.
Hmm.
I need to give that movie another watch. Like I love that movie. I just haven't seen it since we were like maybe like 13. It's been a
Oh
long
man.
time. It's been a long time. I remember the first time I saw it, my older brother Zach, who's been on the podcast before, he drove me back from San Jose to Elk Grove in his like 2002 Camaro that he had. He purchased it right out from when he got out of the army. He just like spent a ton of money on this Camaro or something. I forget what happened, but he had a Camaro and I was in the back seat and he gave me a DVD player and he was just like, here. And so I started watching whatever was on it and it was Step Brothers. And I was like, this is so fucking hilarious. I was like, maybe when did it come out? 2020, 2007,
Oh, it had
2008,
to. I might still have it up on Google. Let me see. 2008. Yeah.
2008. Yeah, it came out. Yeah, he got a bootleg version of it. So I watched it that year in my older brother's Camaro. And my sister-in-law at the time, they were just dating. That was the first day I met her too, and she drove with us up, and like she could hear the like the she could hear the movie, but and she was laughing like the whole time. And she didn't even watch it with me. Like I was watching it, she just heard the voices and she was dying. So that was a great memory. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
also like trying to scare the neighbors away. Oh my
Yeah.
god. That's crazy because now like imagining that coming out nowadays. Oh
God, it would just. I'm afraid for people to come after that movie for
oh
some of the
no.
things it did. It's I don't know though. It'll always have a special sentimentality past for me though with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just think it's hilarious. In the I mean, the first time that I watched it was around the same time. Very shortly after it came out, my cousins and we were at my aunt's house,
Mm-hmm.
and my older cousin like snuck it into the room when we were supposed to be in bed,
Uh-huh.
and it was like 2 in the morning, and we were just dying laughing. And my aunt came in and saw that we were watching it and was like furious.
Yeah.
But then I think it was I think it was the when they throw the dad down the stairs scene when they're
Mm,
sleepwalking.
yeah.
She ended up sitting and watching it with us.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so it's I don't know. It's a movie. I mean, I've watched this movie probably. I mean, I had it on repeat on my DVD player in high school probably every day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
then
white noise.
yo yeah. That we all have that one movie that's just kind of like a white noise. You can just play it anytime.
Mhm.
Um and this movie for me definitely was not white noise. If I may, I will tell you my next movie on the list.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk about divisive? You want to talk about divisive? This movie is now very divisive because of one actor's portrayal of another actor portraying another actor. That movie is Tropic Thunder, dude. Yeah, this
Oh
movie.
man,
I remember watching this movie at your house, Gavin.
really?
I'm pretty sure we watched this movie together. I'm fairly certain I watched it with you at your house for like one. I don't know if it was your birthday or maybe one of your brother's birthdays, but I was just over for it and like they fell asleep. But I remember watching this movie when we were like, when did it come out? I think it came out in 2008 too. Yeah, it
Yeah.
came out in 2008. Same year as Step Brothers. I'm pretty sure we watched it either 2008 or 2009 and dying. Dying. Jack Black and and Robert Downey Jr. and Ben Stiller kill it in this movie.
It's yeah,
They are fucking hilarious.
it's seriously a masterpiece of comedy.
And Tom Cruise is in it too. I totally forgot Tom Cruise is in it.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
god.
God, it's the satire of Hollywood in it is so funny, and
Yeah.
just how ignorant Ben Stiller's character is for the entire movie.
Oh my god.
Um,
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And then also just the method acting of um of Robert Downey Jr. in this movie, which has come under fire in recent years because he did do blackface for the movie. But even like, I'm not putting myself on one side or the other of it. I'm just stating fact that there have been a number of black actors who have come out and they're like, no, like he did awesome. Like because
yeah,
because he was playing an actor being in blackface.
yeah,
Like, it
it
was so
was.
absurd, like such a loophole that like people were just like, okay, like this is hilarious. Like,
Because yeah, it was the whole point of it is to make fun of the ignorance
yeah,
of, like, when he's like, they do this to our people,
yeah,
and the
yes.
other guy's like, our people, really, dude? like, like it's so intentional. Like, it's not.
Yeah, they're like making fun of people who would put on blackface for a
e-
role.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not Justin Trudeau wearing it to a baseball game to be funny. You know, it's he's actually doing commentary with it. That's all I'm gonna say on it. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. It's pretty
yes,
hilarious. I can
and
understand why people would just get upset in the principle of it. I understand. I can also understand the other side, but it's just
yeah,
hilarious. Hilarious movie. So many great moments from this movie, but I just remember this particular film, like, it was one of the very few movies where, like, at your house specifically, I would like be kind of looking over my shoulder to see if like your mom or your dad heard us like laughing, and like to see if they were going to come into the room because we were laughing that much and
yeah.
that loud.
Just
So
the Jack Black tied to a tree. You know, come
and
on,
it
guys, you can cut me down. I'm better now.
and it was and it gave us one of the most said quotes of our middle school lives. Like, I'm a lead farmer, motherfucker. Like, come on. You've heard I probably heard that said every day for like a year. Because we
Yeah.
entered middle school in like 2009, I think. I
Yep.
just remember hearing that all the fucking time.
Always.
That and winning because of Charlie Sheen. Those
Yep.
two. It was
Yep.
weird, but
Always.
great movie, great time. Now, Gavin, what is your uh,
Okay.
second movie?
So my second movie, I'm gonna save the big guns for the last, but my
Okay.
second movie is Meet the Spartans, which, for the uninitiated, for those of you born after 2000, which is probably a growing number nowadays, we're getting old.
It unfortunately is getting bigger. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or they were born in 2000,
or they
so
were
they don't
born in
remember it.
2000. Yeah, so from about 2000 to 2008, there was a phenomenon called the spoof movie. So if you ever watched the Scary Movie franchise or Teenage Vampire movie, things like that, it's basically you take a serious movie and then you make a joke movie out of it that is horribly riddled with pop culture references that date the movie really badly. So Meet the Spartans is a parody movie of 300. And it has like a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes or some crazy low number, but I maintain that it is one of the most funny movies ever made, because you get things like Optimus Prime Xerxes the Great. You get things like Sanjaya getting thrown in the Spartan pit.
Sanjaya Malakar from like season like what, like 10 of American
Yeah,
Idol or some shit.
yeah.
God rest in peace, American Idol. Yeah.
They're like, it's just, and it was so wildly inappropriate for us to be watching that movie when we
Oh my
did.
god.
Do you want to tell the story of how we got into watching that movie?
Yeah, I will.
Okay,
Okay.
because it's definitely not a movie that you should watch if you're under the age of like
13 maybe.
13. Yeah.
Yeah. And we watched it like when it came out on DVD. So
Yeah.
later that same year, right?
Yeah, so we
Was
had
that
to
oh
have
seven?
been. Let me take a look. I feel like it might be before that.
Oh shit. I think it was oh seven. I feel like it.
Okay. Okay, it's 2008. 2008. Not
Wow, a
too
lot
bad.
of dude, a lot of these movies.
Wow, man.
We were 11. I was 11. Yeah, we were both like 11.
Oh man. Oh, the Shrek baby. Oh my
I
god.
I have a fucked up memory of the Shrek baby, and I will tell that, and I will apologize in advance for this, but I will. Okay, so how we got into watching that movie? It was, I believe, was it your birthday or Garrett's birthday? I think it was Garrett's birthday.
I think it was too.
It was okay, so that makes it worse because
A lot
Garrett
worse.
Garrett was like 6.
Oh.
Garrett was okay. Garrett is Gavin's little brother, and we went to Blockbuster to pick out a movie to watch for Garrett.
Oh
for,
man.
for
And I
Garrett,
probably convinced him he didn't want to watch it.
for
I probably convinced him to watch this instead of a movie that he actually wanted to see. God. Okay, continue. Sorry.
so we watched. We were in the aisles looking around for a movie. I I wasn't the type of kid to just like, at least especially at your place, at your house, to just like suggest things to do. If I'm mistaken, definitely correct me. But I wasn't, I don't think I was the type of kid who was like, "Hey, I want to watch this. Let's watch this." Like, we're going to all watch this because I want to watch it even though I'm not part of this family. And like, I don't think I was that type of kid.
No, things just happened
Yeah.
usually.
So I remember that like nobody could pick a movie. Garrett didn't know what to watch. You didn't know, like, things that your stepdad at the time would offer us. We didn't want to watch anything that like you wanted to watch. Garrett or me didn't want to watch anything that Garrett wanted to watch. Like, none of us wanted to watch it, or he wasn't even saying anything. So I was like, okay. Well, and then I saw like they had a huge ad for Meet the Spartans. They had a whole section of just like blank DVDs that just had Meet the Spartans on it. So I was like, why don't we just watch this? It's a funny movie and it says it's unrated. I thought unrated meant that it was so clean. They took all the bad parts out of that movie. It was so clean that they didn't even have to rate it anymore. That's what I thought. It was so like, it was more G than G. It was F. Okay. It was like F rated. It was like a step above it. I thought. No. Obviously, now I know that's a fucking lie. Your stepdad at the time was there and he listened to that logic. He listened to a logic of the logic of an 11-year-old kid who thought he knew what he was talking about, who obviously didn't, and was like, okay, let's watch this. So I remember we went back to your house. We popped it in, and within 5 minutes, I remember your mom came and sat down with us,
Oh god,
and
yeah.
she was just like, she looked at your stepdad at the time and was just like, why did you pick this? And why did you pick this? And he was just like, they said it was fine. And instead of turning it off, she just walked away, just pissed.
Yeah.
And we stayed there watching it, and we watched the entire movie, and I learned so many things about life in that from that stupid fucking movie. But what I feel bad about the most is that the Shrek baby had like a really deep voice, and it had a really fucked up face. And you can look up the picture of the Shrek baby from Meet the Spartans. But I remember this was one of the very few times I ever threw like shade at young Gare Bear. But I hit him hard, and I was like, bro, that Shrek baby looks like Gare. And I have felt sorrow and regret for saying that ever since, because the way he looked at me after I said that, it's like he knew it was true and he just fucking hated himself. And I was like, no. Now looking back, I'm like, God damn it, why did I say that? But yeah,
Oh my god.
that's the story of how we watched Meet the Spartans at 11 years old. all because I thought I knew something and an adult listened to me.
A grown adult who's probably like 30 at the time. Really
Yeah,
bad.
that was
Do
weird.
you, do you want to guess real quick before we move on?
Mm,
Just like off the top of your head, what do you think the Rotten Tomatoes for this movie is?
5.
2. 2%. Okay. All right.
Even Rotten Tomatoes doesn't think that it's a good spoof movie.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. For the record, let the record show. I don't think it's a good spoof movie.
Yeah.
I just think it's a hilarious movie.
It's yeah. It's like one of those things. It's so bad it's good.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because there's like they even have like a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas like joke in there. Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, the references. Oh my god.
So
It's
bad.
such a funny time.
Yeah.
That story, man. Oh my god. I can't believe that actually happened.
Surreal.
Yeah, that movie and the actual 300 movie. The, both of those movies opened my eyes a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the first movie I was able to watch. 300 was the first movie that I was able to watch that had sex in it, and I didn't have to cover my eyes because my older brother took me and he was just like, "You're not covering your eyes." And I
You
was
know,
like, "Oh shit, okay."
you're gonna like this, boy.
Yeah, and I remember watching it, and I'm just like, I'm, I don't know, I don't want to. Okay, I guess I'll just, I guess I'll not close my eyes. All right.
This is happening. Yeah.
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 I wasn't even like harassed or anything. I was just like, okay,
All right. And that's
interesting.
whoa. Cool jujitsu, bro.
I know. Yeah. Yep. They're definitely kissing. But all right. So my last movie on this list, I was flipping between two. One I really want to talk about just because the story behind this movie is so funny, and then one's just honestly more iconic than the other. So I'll do the one that's honestly more iconic. I'm actually going to push that to honorable mentions, and I'll just mention that because it's so closely related to one of the other movies that I mentioned before that it's just like you they're basically almost the same movie in terms of comedy and their placement in my mind. This next movie is very different from the previous two, and that's why I'll say it. This movie is called Lunopolis. And it is one of the worst movies ever. It is garbage. This movie is a 2010 release that I watched. I watched this with I think I watched this by myself when I was like 13 or 14. I was like 15 actually. Yeah, I was like 15. I watched this movie by myself at like 3 a.m. during summer break when we were like maybe sophomores, and remember almost pissing my pants laughing so hard. So I had to watch this movie with Gavin and one of our best friends, Travis. And there's one specific part of the movie because this movie tricks you so hard. This movie makes you actually believe that there like is an alien conspiracy. Like they do a pretty good job in the beginning of the movie, production wise, to like make you kind of question shit. And you're like, wait a second, is this real? Like, oh my God. Like this looks so fucking this is too crazy to be true. And then there's a certain point in the movie where you start laughing because you couldn't believe that you believed this
Any of
far
it.
into it, that you believed anything. That because it's so bad. It's like it's good in that way. Like it's brilliant in that way because it fools you into thinking there is a fucking conspiracy. And it's just so funny. Gavin, do you want to talk about would you like to discuss the point at which I'm referring to within this film?
Yes. I would love to because I went on a fish hunt recently, actually, within the last 2 months for this specific moment because it never fails to make me laugh, but I can't find it anywhere. So about halfway through the movie, so a major I don't even know how to begin. A major plot element in the movie is that the documentary crew is being followed by these like Agent Smith from the Matrix style guys. like in all black suits with the the sunglasses and all
Yeah,
that.
they look like the Men in Black.
And yeah, and there's a point where either they drive into the middle of a cornfield, first off, in the middle of the cornfield, in the middle of nowhere in like the Midwest.
Yeah.
And I think they've kidnapped the documentary crew because they're trying to intimidate them.
Uh-huh.
And the agents walk away. They get into this like 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 a Ford Crown Victoria with tinted windows, and they start speeding down the dirt path between these cornfields. In my memory, at least,
Yes.
I think that's how
I
it is.
believe that's how it went, yeah.
They're speeding down, and then out of nowhere, this Ford Crown Victoria, just in the worst CGI you can possibly imagine, just does a 90-degree rocket ship takeoff from driving. And it just like flies straight up into the air, and I think it does a flip and then goes off into space.
It was the most Looney Tune shit
It
ever.
it looked like back in like the early days of the iPhone, you could get like the shitty fake CGI app where you could it looked like someone did that.
It's like iPhone 2 quality fucking
Yeah.
graphics.
And from that moment on, like I just remember the three of us were sitting watching this movie in my house, just like transfixed by the movie. Then this happens, and we just died laughing.
Oh my god, dude.
And then the movie just falls apart from there. You get like these weird aliens walking around and shit, and
it turns so dumb. And that's the thing. It has to be intentional. Like they had to have done it that way because they needed to like consciously know that it was going to make people laugh to this degree.
oh, for sure. There's no way.
Oh my god, it was ridiculous. Like it, because it's crazy because the attention to realism prior to that is remarkably really good.
It's not bad by any sense of the word.
Yeah, like
it's
it has you
decent.
kind of question some things. Like it has you kind of like, like wait, is this real? Like how? Like what the fuck is this? I mean, obviously we were like 14, 15 at the time, so of course
Yeah.
we're like more susceptible to like shit like that. But yeah, the moment that car just takes off and it just like you just hear you just see it, and it even does that like twinkle thing, like when the Team Rocket gets like blasted off into the air in Pokemon because they like got foiled or whatever, and it twinkles like ding.
Yep.
It does that.
It does
in
do
the sky. It was so bad. It was so bad. But I remember forcing you and Travis to watch that movie specifically for that moment because I was like, I want to see their reaction to this. And I waited a whole hour and like 15 minutes just to get that reaction. It was worth it. It was super worth it. That was hilarious. One of the best moments I can remember because that was such a genuine laugh. I remember you guys genuinely fucking laughing your asses off because of that. And I knew you would, and it just made me feel really good that I found that gem and was able to bestow it on a silver platter for you guys.
I'm still grateful for it to this day, man. I still think about that scene and will laugh. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I could be in the middle of a work day, just homicidally angry at someone.
Yeah.
And I will think of that. Just, for me, it's the moment that there's no transition between takeoff. It's just kind of just randomly shoots up in the air like a bad 3D graphics project or something. Yeah. It's terrible.
Yeah. And then it once that happens, it shows you just how like why this movie went like straight to fucking DVD or whatever. Like because you questioned before that, you're like, I wonder why it went straight to DVD. And then you're like, oh, okay, because of that. Mm-hmm. And it also like had to center around like the 2012 Mayan predictions and shit.
Oh yeah, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
the moon people.
Yeah, there was that was the whole thing. Yeah, there was a civilization on the moon that they were hiding, that the government was hiding. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I remember that now.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, all right. Last movie of the episode. Gavin, what do you got?
Okay, so much like you, actually, I'm split between two. One because, well, I'm just going to go with the one that I'm actually going with first, and then I will give the honorable mention after. Nosferatu.
No.
Yes. I've only seen that movie in its entirety one time. And it was when we were in high school. I think during summer break, even maybe.
I think it was, summertime.
I think Zach was at your house for his graduation,
Yeah, I think so.
or something like that. No. It was
No,
before
it was
that.
before that, yeah.
He was there for some reason, and we were on Netflix, and for some reason, he decided that we should all watch Nosferatu.
The whole, like, the uncut, like, 1929 version of Nosferatu, not the one with Willem Dafoe.
No,
No.
just the silent film.
Yes, the OG.
With the terrible like do 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 like piano music.
The super nightmare fuel. The it was like super, like, almost, it seemed, it now looking back, it looks like claymation. Like that, yeah.
It's the frame rate of the cameras back then was so low that like everything looked unnatural. It's scary for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And to this day, because I've tried to rewatch it a couple times, I still can't figure out who the hell the good guys and bad guys are supposed to be. Because like everybody has this weird makeup on.
They all look the same.
Yeah, they all look the same. And like his like creepy, feely landlord guy.
Oh yeah, the fiddler.
The fiddler.
The diddler. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I could never figure out what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
But we were laughing for the entire movie. Like
I remember that we would like stop it. We would stop it and just like start laughing at that frame.
Yes.
And we would start like making like a story. I remember at a certain point we just muted the music, right?
Yeah.
And then we started like talking over it, like as if we were the characters.
Yeah, we were doing like a commentary and like a dub of it almost. And so yeah, like that movie will forever stick out to me because it was just so like that's one of my favorite childhood experiences we shared. It's one of my favorite ones.
That's adorable. Yeah, no, I loved it because like my brother was just like cracking us up the entire time, dude. He was just straight. That guy, he's a kid himself.
Yeah.
He even admits it to a degree. It's just, oh my God, yeah. He was just coming up with some quips, just laying him on thick. It was hilarious.
Touch the tip, man.
Yeah, touch the tip. Yeah.
That.
Oh my God.
Forever ingrained in my mind. But
it totally changed like the story and just like
it took something that already made no sense.
It made it less sense.
Made it less sense, but way more enjoyable.
I remember I watched that movie the entire way through with those like caption cards and everything. And I remember it making like, I understood it, but I was just like, okay, obviously this movie came out in the 20s. Okay, I understand that. But it took you that long to just get to that conclusion. Like the conclusion of it is just Nosferatu just like curling up and just like fading.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just, I don't know. Like, it's just now with our modern standards, obviously you can take any piece of art that was made back in the day and criticize it with our modern eyes. Of course.
Yeah, but to an extent, though. I mean, because like you watch like Metropolis, which came out around that time. It's another scary movie like that. First robot in movie, actually.
Yeah.
It still definitely suffers from its age, but it doesn't. They're like, you can tell what's going on.
Yeah.
And it follows narrative structure. and it has a definitive beginning, middle, and end. Or
Yeah.
like, not to be too cliche, but like Citizen Kane, it
Mm,
still holds up for the most part.
yeah.
Nosferatu does not hold up
Dude, it's
at
just
all.
really it's just funny because that movie just straight up like it's it's funny because of just how like the scenes are just so like
Long.
long and like the movements are so slow from Nosferatu and he just looks super creepy. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing is like it's based around Dracula, right?
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be like a seductive guy. This is not a seductive dude. This guy's a weird motherfucker. But like, I guess it kind of makes sense because it's like his powers seduce you so much that like you don't even look at his appearance. It's just his aura that you're just like gravitated to because you're under
Oh
his
man.
like hypnosis or whatever. But still, it's just like this is one of the most ugly characters ever created in any movie, which is remarkable in itself. I'll give it that. But like
True.
that holds up to
That
this
does
day.
hold up. The level of Nosferatu's ugliness will never subside.
And also uh his cameo in SpongeBob also holds up very well.
Hilarious. Yes. Yes. That's a great one. Um,
But yeah, that's a great
what's
movie. That's a great memory.
what's your honorable mention?
My honorable mention, which you probably were expecting, and you could predict this from a mile away, Nacho Libre.
Nacho Libre. That's I was hoping.
Nacho.
Nacho.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
movie. For all the same reasons as Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
Jared Hess was a producer on it, I believe, and he directed it, one of the two. Or no, it was directed by Jack. I don't remember. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it was hilarious movie, especially being a Mexican American. It's hilarious seeing your culture be satirized and made fun of in that way.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing Mexicans love more than to make fun of their own culture.
Yeah.
Ironic.
What's great about Nacho Libre is it's not mean spirited.
No, it's not
It's
mean-spirited. Yeah.
so much from a place of love and like just like you could tell that they enjoyed every millisecond of filming that movie.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what I love so much about it. Kind of like with Napoleon Dynamite, it just
Yeah.
drips. Like it drips with the vigorosity of everyone involved. Everybody
Yeah.
really liked the project.
Yeah, you could tell everyone had a good time.
Yeah.
Everybody had a good time. And yeah, like you said, it's not mean spirited at all. They weren't setting out to make fun of Mexican culture in a disrespectful way at all.
Yeah.
If anything, most people who like that movie are Mexican. So so I mean, hey, I mean good for Jack Black. It was
That's
awesome.
true.
Great
That's
movie.
true.
What was yours?
The Ninth Gate.
Oh God.
Just because that was a movie that I subjected all of my friends to because I thought I was edgy and that it was the best movie ever made. I watched it recently. It's so bad.
I'm sorry, Gavin. Yeah, that's a bad movie. I
It's
remember watching it and I'm just like, what the
it's the most boring
fuck?
movie ever made. Like I think they got freaking Johnny Depp on Valium for every scene that he was
Oh
in.
my
It was
God.
terrible.
Why did you like it at the time so much?
I liked how different it because that is there's one that's the aspect that I do still enjoy about the movie is how different it is from any other movie. It feels more like a serial killer investigation kind of like almost like you took an episode of like Mindhunter and made a movie,
Okay.
but it doesn't go far enough in those elements. So
Yeah.
it just kind of like it doesn't build a crazy mystery because you're kind of given all the puzzle pieces as you go. It doesn't make you figure any of it out. So
Uh-huh.
even the good part of it isn't good because
Right.
it's just too because Roman Polanski is he lost his way as he got older because he's a fucking weirdo. But
Roman Polanski.
yeah, I mean I think I also just liked how dark it was,
I see. Yeah.
The I think Ben Stein plays the bad guy in the movie. I think that's who it is. I'm I'm gonna verify that before this gets released. I'm pretty sure Ben Stein plays the crazy guy.
Oh my god.
If it is, that makes it so much better. Bueller.
um.
Oh, never mind. It's Frank Langella.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Damn it. Okay.
He doesn't even look like it.
I know. I
That's
guess
funny.
in my mind's eye, it was always.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that movie, I remember you having me watch it, and I think I fell asleep during it. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure that you had it on, and I was there trying to watch it, and I was just like on my phone the whole time, and then just like drifted off.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about that movie.
Yeah. And I'm going to formally apologize to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I made you sit through that film.
No, it's okay, man. It's a great memory, and now I know that I don't need to watch that movie. So.
Yeah, no, you never need to watch it again. It's oof. I own it. I own like 3 copies of it.
Jesus
You know,
Christ.
I own a Blu-ray, a DVD, and I own it on Amazon.
Oh
That's
my
how
God.
dedicated I was.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
That is a lot of dedication. You're probably the only person to own 3 copies of that movie. So
Yeah.
that's in the world. So congratulations on that. That's pretty
man.
cool in itself. But yeah, man. Well, that's our list with 2 honorable mentions, some really great classic comedies, and some movies that maybe weren't necessarily intended to be comedies, but are funny for very different reasons, at least in our circle. So we hope you enjoyed that discussion. Gavin, thank you for coming on. And
Anytime, sir.
we will definitely talk to you soon, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Much love. Later, guys.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that little stroll down memory lane and that movie talk with G Money, G Steezy, G Boy, my best friend, Gavin. Now, since Quinn isn't on, I'm still going to give my weekly recommendations. And so here they are. First, I have a TV show that is on Netflix. It was released in 2019, I believe. In September 2019, actually. And it is called The Spy with Sacha Baron Cohen. I recently binged this series, and honestly, I was very pleasantly surprised. It's about Sacha Baron Cohen's character, a man named Eli, who is Israeli and becomes a spy for basically the Israeli CIA and infiltrates Syria in the 1960s. This is actually a true story. There are obviously some inaccuracies within this story, but overall, it's a very good show. I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's on Netflix. Unless you're in France. If you're listening to this in France, first of all, thank you for listening. And second, you have to go to this other content provider called CBA or CBS, or not CBS, CBM or something like that. I'm not very well attuned to the French streaming service landscape, so I'm sorry about that, but there is another service for French people that you have to watch this show on. But aside from that, it's a very great show, very well produced. Sacha Baron Cohen's performance won an award. I forget which award he won, but he does amazingly well, remarkably well in this serious role, and it's really interesting watching him play a serious role in which he has to play somebody else. So it's kind of perfect for him, because Sacha Baron Cohen is known for playing these really extravagant characters, these really, really larger than life characters. And he does that in this show, but the stakes are just so much higher. You know what I mean? Like, he's playing this normal guy named Eli who's playing this like aristocrat in Syria. So it's like kind of actorception, you know what I mean? But anyways, it's a really great show. It's called The Spy. It is on Netflix, and it's only 6 episodes, an hour apiece. So very quick to get you through a day. if you need something to get you through a day. All right, and now last recommendation of this episode. It is a song. Now, Quinn didn't want me to recommend this song because he's not a fan of this artist, but I'm not really either. But you got to give credit where credit is due, and that is Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift released a song. Well, she released a whole LP, surprise LP called Folklore, and on that LP, there's a song with Bon Iver called Exile. Now, this song is really, really well done. I've listened to the rest of the album. Not really a fan of the whole album, but this song in particular is remarkable in just how Bon Iver channels back vibes of like his early stuff, like For Emma, Forever Ago, the EP, his first EP, or even Holocene. His voice sounds like it's like reminiscent of that era, his early era. And Taylor Swift, her production on this is super clean. Her voice is super clean. Bon Iver, in my opinion, brings a little bit of a grittiness to this song that's very piano heavy in its instrumentation. And the hook on this track, it goes, I think, if I remember correctly, it's like, I think I've seen this film before, or something like that. That hook is just so catchy. It just sticks in your head for days. It's been in my head ever since I've heard it. And both artists and whatever producers and engineers worked on this song killed it. Great song. One of the best songs I've heard during this quarantine, for sure. So definitely check out Exile by Taylor Swift featuring Bon Iver. Very, 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 very great song, worth your time. All right. And with that, I think it's time for me to bid you an adieu. Yeah, I think so. Before I bid you an adieu, though, our next guest for next week, we actually know who it is. So, her name is Brianna Carmel. She's been on the show before, and we actually know who is going to be the guest for the next couple weeks. So that will be announced soon. But Brianna Carmel is going to come on. She's going to talk about all these crazy allegations that are being brought to light within the music industry, specifically Burger Records and like the whole Warped Tour community. We're going to talk about all that. But if you want to stay up to date with the Closers Podcast, please follow us on Instagram at Closers Podcast, at the Closers Podcast, I should say. And like our Facebook page at Closers Podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Spotify, Apple Pods, Stitcher, Google Pods, and wherever else you listen to your pods, because it helps us out a lot. Share these episodes with your favorite people, because they will become our favorite people, and we will become a community full of just favorite people. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, I think that'd be pretty awesome. Anyways, guys, I will be Closed Center Week in Style on Friday, as I always do. Quinn will be back next week with Hang 10 with Quinn Kalani on Monday, and he will be back to talk with Brianna Carmel and I on Wednesday. And without any further ado, I bid you an adieu. Take care. Love you all.